Hello, and welcome to episode 34 of Let's Talk Immigration. I appreciate everybody joining me. First thing I want to talk about, I watched someone else's live today, Charles Cuck with Cuck Baxter, I think, Immigration in Georgia, and he had a rundown on what's going on with the DACA litigation and states having standing and things like that. If you're interested in DACA litigation, go check that out. I found it very informative. He also talked about how TPS is coming back for Salvadorians and Hondurans and hopefully Venezuelans. That was cool. Okay, and then what did I want to talk about? First, I saw on Twitter that the Biden administration has picked Patrick P.J. Lockenleiter, who's always been with ICE, to be the new acting head of ICE, the new acting director. That means he's going to take the place of Tay Johnson, who I think resigns on Friday. And I happened to notice on the internet today that Tay Johnson, even though he's not at the door yet, he's already lined up a speaking engagement. You know how people, they come into government and they use their government service to benefit after their government service. He has a speaking engagement in November. I thought that was interesting. Okay, so I wasn't supposed to do that. I actually sent another tweet that I thought was important. And let me see if I can find it. How do you find profile? I think I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up on that. The other tweet, what was it about? Okay. How many of you have heard of this story where someone completes an I-130 form themselves without an attorney, and there's a box that says, hey, will this applicant, that you're this beneficiary, will they be getting the visa at the consulate or in the U.S.? And it confuses the person filling out the form. They check the wrong box, say that they'll be getting it in the U.S. When that I-130 is approved, 12 to 18 months later, often what happens, what will happen if the wrong box is checked, is USCIS sends a notice that says, congratulations, the I-130 is approved. Now, if you wanted to go to the consulate, you have to complete an I-824. And then you go to the USCIS processing time webpage and see that I-824s take like 22 months, like a couple years. And you're thinking, I just went through this I-130 process for nothing. It's very frustrating. We filed a case, a complaint for unreasonable delay about that, and filed it 2 months. The amended complaint was filed 2 months ago, and yesterday, USCIS transferred that case to NVC, created a case number. So mandamus lawsuits do work, okay? But that's the first time I've used one in that instance. And I think that if anyone is out there in that situation, do not wait for your I-824 to be processed, because it could be forever, where if you file a mandamus lawsuit, they figure out how to make it happen, So that's the other thing I was going to talk about. DV 2023 AP mandamus lawsuits. I'm only going to accept them through tomorrow. And the reason is we need enough time to prepare good complaints that intimidate the government, make good legal arguments, good facts. We need time to do that. And the government has a 60-day time to respond, to file a responsive pleading from the time you file a complaint. So, you need 90 days to have a good outcome on a mandamus lawsuit on the best of situations. That's not going to happen if you're hiring an attorney in August or something to file a mandamus lawsuit. So I've just decided, let's not even do any latecomers. Either you're doing it now or you're not doing a mandamus lawsuit for AP with us. Okay. So make up your mind today and let us know what you want to do. If you want to see videos about that, we've got them in a few other languages on our on our YouTube channel, Facebook and Telegram probably too. Okay, I see I already have some questions. And since I want to cut today a little short, probably around 3:30, I'm going to go ahead and jump to the questions. And if you want to ask a question, if you're following now and you want to ask a question, the best place to ask the question is on Facebook or YouTube. Okay. If you ask on Telegram, I think one of our team members will copy paste it here, so I'll see it. So that's good too. So in the Telegram, special Telegram channel or Facebook or YouTube, ask your questions there. I'm ready for some great questions, so bring them on. Muhammad says DV 2021. Muhammad, that's not a question. That's just 2 letters and 4 numbers. The DV 2021 journeys for most DV 2021 selectees are over. They are over. The ones they are not over for is good luck plaintiffs and DV 2021 selectees who were waiting on embassies that were designated in the Ray versus Biden order. Okay, so when someone just says DV 2021, I need to tell it be more specific, ask more information. I can get better answers. Any news about the Kennedy case? Okay, Kennedy case is made up of about 1,000 families from DV 2020. All but 5 of those families were Gomez class members. That's because they were not issued visas during fiscal year 2020. And they are waiting on the outcome of the Biden administration's appeal of the Gomez order. Okay. So we still have to continue waiting. No news. Naxamed Amir Adir says, what about DV 2021? Okay. I refer you to what I just said. The DV journeys for most diversity visa 2021 selectees are over. If you're a good luck plaintiff, you're in a different situation. Or if you were waiting for an interview from an embassy designated in Ray versus Biden or a Ray versus Biden case before Judge Chutkan, then maybe your journey continues. So without more information there, it's difficult to answer your question. Oh, yes. Masa Film is looking for DV winners for a documentary. And there is a website right here that you can go to that I'm going to go to right now to talk about that. Thank you for sharing that, staff member. Present, share screen. Masa Films made a documentary called Going Varsity in Mariachi, which was really cool. I watched it. Very vibrant colors in this documentary. Lots of good music. So now they're working on a project about the diversity visa program. The working title is the Lottery Project. That might change between now and then. But if you are a DV 2023 or a DV 2024 selectee, and you want to talk about your lottery experience, where you are now, where you are going, contact Alejandra or Sam at the email address on this webpage. They're great filmmakers, easy to talk to, and they just want to tell the story. I think this is a very important project. Me and Isabella on our team are really like doing everything we can to support this project. And one of the reasons is there's a lot of negative things that are said about diversity visa program, mainly because Trump put it out there. And, you know, we ran in 2016 on, I'm going to take out the diversity visa program. And he never really let go of that bone. And so there's a lot of conservatives that talk about how bad the diversity visa lottery program is, and they have really bad ideas about why they think it's bad, like they're not right. And this film could change all that, right? Which reminds me, I'm a member of AILA, the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and the president of AILA that was just installed came to the U.S. As an Iranian DV lottery winner. It's been a few years ago, but you can, as a DV lottery winner, really make it into the U.S., okay? So let me see here. I think I finally have some more questions. Good morning from Good Luck. Previously, Jacob, plaintiff from Kathmandu. Hello, Saraj. Good morning. So Good Luck is a case where we won injunctive relief. We have fully briefed the summary judgment, but Judge Mehta has put a stay on the district court case because the Biden administration has appealed our victory for injunctive relief. The order that reserved 6,914 visas has appealed that order to the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District Court of Columbia. A 3-judge panel heard oral arguments last September. Rafael Urena on our team went to DC and made arguments on behalf of our clients. And I should mention that hearing was also the same hearing for Gomez and the same hearing for another DV case too, and Go, and maybe another also. So what we are waiting on now is for the 3-judge panel from the Court of Appeals to issue their opinion on the issues that were appealed. Okay. The issues were not simple, and so it's not a surprise that this appeal is taking longer than we hope. Also, appeals take a long time. They just do. That's the way it is. Who's responsible for this delay is the Biden administration, right? We didn't file an appeal. Nobody, Morrison, Urena, we did not file any appeal. Okay. The Biden administration appealed Judge Mehta and Judge Chutkan's orders, and that's why we're waiting on the outcome of the appeal. So we don't blame the judges and don't blame me. Okay. Clogen says, hope you're well. I'm your client in DV Lottery 2021. Is there any news about the court's decision? Hi, Clogen. No, there's no news. As I was just saying, we are waiting on the outcome from the Court of Appeals. Honest says hello. Hello? 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 Hola? Patrick says, good evening, Curtis. When would the State Department increase their consular staff, especially for embassies in Africa? Immigrant visa cases are delayed with no signs of improvement. Well, Patrick, that's interesting because the State Department brags that they have increased their staff. And in fact, they have bragged lately that they are issuing immigrant visas at record rates. And they are in Europe. I would say that the Biden administration, particularly Secretary Blinken, has a focus on visitor visas and student visas, and that's the number one priority because they think that that's going to help our economy. They don't realize that the fabric of American families is also important. So what we're looking at now is two things going on. One is the prioritization of non-immigrant visas over immigrant visas. I don't know when it's going to stop. I've got 4 lawsuits about to file a 5th that challenges that. The second thing is you're looking at resource decisions where Secretary Blinken has decided that it's best to staff up embassies that don't bring in immigrants that are brown or black or Muslim. And, you know, nobody wants to say that out loud, but numbers don't lie. And that's what's happening. So, wish I had better news. Okay. Nico says, 2021, not my favorite year. What about DV 2021? Most DV 2021 selectees, their journey is over. And the only 2 situations where the journey is not as over is if they were a Good Luck or a Go plaintiff, or They were assigned to a U.S. embassy that was designated by Judge Chutkan's order in Ray versus Biden, another one of our lawsuits. I've said that a few times now. Useless lawyer. Thank you, Masta. You spelled useless wrong. I said your name wrong. Or even. Claudian, when do you think the court decision can be made based on your extensive experience as a lawyer? You're being presumptuous there. I don't have extensive experience as a lawyer. I became a lawyer late in life. It's actually like my fourth career, and maybe 2018, something like that. But importantly, doesn't matter how much experience you have as a lawyer to predict what a circuit court of appeals is going to do when they're going to do something. What would help there is your experience as like a fortune teller or a witch or somebody that sees the future like Nostradamus. We don't know when the outcome of the appeal is going to happen. There's no way to know it. There's no way to ask the question where you get a different answer. It's just something you have to accept. And we have a question from a YouTuber. And if you're a DV 2022 selectee, then you're dead and you're wrongly mistaken. And what? Hopefully you're not dead. But if you are a DV 2022 selectee and you were not issued a visa, your DV journey for that year is over. And so don't talk about it anymore. Let's focus on something new. Okay. I realize that it's difficult to be invested in a process that doesn't work out, but I'm just telling you how it is. DV 2022 is over. Okay, Henny says, I see on the news and in Twitter that the Supreme Court of the United States issued a lot of opinions and order this week. Is there any recent decision that can have impact on good luck appeal for one of the points of issue? Henny, that is a great question, and I haven't made it through all of the Supreme Court opinions yet to know that. It's one of the reasons I was watching Mr. Cuck's video earlier today talking about the standing and docket decisions, which I don't think impacts him. To my knowledge, none of them impact, and we can't do a notice of supplemental authority related to any of them because the litigations that we do tend to be a little different than what is before the Supreme Court. There was one case that I thought might have a bearing on the asylum seeker case, but then when I looked deeper, it did not. So anyway, no, but thank you for the reminder. I need to continue looking for new supplemental authority that comes out of the Supreme Court. Okay, Faisal says, that's going to be bullshit if it's not already this Kennedy plaintiff. I'm not sure I understand the question. I can tell you're frustrated, though, and I understand. I decided to sue the Trump administration over the way that they were administering the DV program 3 years ago this week. I sent a tweet that said, see you in court. And it's been a very long 3 years. And so I think that DV 2020 and 2021 selectees deserve justice, and that's not what they're getting with this appeal. So hopefully the opinion comes soon. Okay. Deepak says, what about DV 2020? I think that people don't really listen to what I'm saying. They just, or maybe they come in late. We're waiting on the outcome of the appeal for the Gomez class members. Okay. Carrick says, can ask for the results of the appeal as lawyer with the good luck case? What Carrick is suggesting is that I, as a lawyer, ask the court to go ahead and give us the opinion for the good luck case. Okay, I get asked this a lot, and let me just be very, very clear. That is not done. We do not second guess judges in their ability to manage their own dockets. They know what work they have to do, and they know what's important, and they know what's prioritized. And it is their sovereign authority and role to make these determinations. if I tried to interrupt that and said, hey, do me first, I could get sanctioned. I mean, I could make judges mad at me to where they make me go to jail and stuff. Judges have an enormous amount of authority. We follow the rules. We don't push. We don't knock. We don't do that. You have to be patient. If any of my clients are watching this and you're thinking about reaching out to a judge, do not do it, or I will try to not represent you anymore. Do not contact a judge directly. Judges will issue their opinions when they're ready. Okay. Galia says, hello, sir. Yesterday I heard Jesse Bless say the outcome will not going to take a long time, so the decision will be shortly in the next days or weeks. What do you think? I think that if you want to rely on Jesse Bless for predicting things, then you need to go and ask him questions like that. Because as I've said for months and months, we do not know when the outcome of the appeal will be. We do not know. Okay. Patrick says, did you see the Assistant Secretary of State of Consular Affairs, Rena Bitter, in front of the Senate and House Committee? And she didn't mention the immigrant visa backlog, and no senators asked. Why? Patrick, thank you for bringing that up. I will tell you why. If you are one of the viewers or watching, if you are a petitioner, a green card holder, or a U.S. citizen of your beneficiaries, and you're wondering why there are immigrant visa backlogs where embassies are not staffed and they still blame COVID for things, look at your mirror and tell me, have you emailed your member of Congress and your 2 U.S. senators to let them know that this is a problem? Because members of Congress and senators, they react to what their constituents tell them, especially those constituents that give them money. And conservative constituents are really good about complaining about immigrants. And I am having a hard time getting family-based visa applicant petitioners to use Congress to, example, you have a member of Congress do a inquiry, sometimes called a congressional, like an inquiry on what's happening with the case at USCIS or at State Department or at the embassy. And they give a boilerplate response. You push reply to that boilerplate response and ask follow-up questions and say, hello, member of Congress, you work for me. And I have this other question, like, why is Islamabad not staffed when other embassies are staffed? Why is that? Like, is there a queue for people that are in AP? I mean, there's so many questions that you don't know the answer to that people ask me all the time here that they are not asking their members of Congress. If you ask your members of Congress can ask the State Department, and the State Department has to answer them. They can't ignore them like they do me, okay? Like, if I tweet something at the State Department, they might change a policy, but they don't have to answer me, and they don't have to change policy. If a member of Congress sends a letter to the Secretary of State, Secretary of State has to answer that letter, right? Rena Bitter she's accountable. The State Department gets money from Congress, so they're accountable. So if you are a petitioner and you're watching this and you have not contacted your member of Congress of what is going wrong in your immigration path for your family, change that. I said that. Thank you. Okay. Please, DV, good luck. 2021. Lots of prayers. Yes. Okay. Jose says, please, bird snarl somewhat of DV 2020. That doesn't sound good. I don't know what bird snarl is, but that doesn't sound good. Okay. I get worked up sometimes, and it's not that I'm mad at your questions. I'm happy about your questions because you're giving me an opportunity to talk about these issues. Thank you for your questions, even if they're the ones that get me all excited, because these are important issues for everybody, right? So anyway, I hope nobody takes it the wrong way that I get kind of worked up. James says, good evening. Good evening, James. You're a little late. You usually show up sooner. So it looks like that's all the questions we have. I'm going to wrap up early, and I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you next week for episode 35.